Welcome back, Fantasy Fiction Fanatics. It's great to see you again, and I hope you're doing well. Today is going to be another book review, and today's book is going to be The Witch's Heart by Genevieve Gornichec, I think is how you would say her last name. And yeah, let me go ahead and jump right into what I liked about this book. So, as somebody who really likes Norse mythology and who likes mythology in general, I found this book to be very, very interesting because it is all around, or all revolves around Norse mythology characters, and it is about Angrboda, who is the mate or the mistress of Loki. So definitely all about Norse mythology and super, super interesting. I learned a lot from this book. Or it also inspired me to look up more about certain characters and certain gods and goddesses that are in Norse mythology that I didn't know very much about. So definitely a good point about it is that because I like mythology, that this book was interesting for me in that way, as it revolves around Norse mythology, and I'm not as familiar with Norse mythology, so it made it so I grew and learned more about it based on reading this book and wanting to know more about the characters that are involved in it. I do think it is nice that this book is a unique perspective in the fact that it is a book that revolves around Angrboda versus, Loki or Thor or Odin or one of the more prominent mythological people or gods and goddesses. It's from one that is less known or less in the spotlight, has much more of a narrower perspective or a narrower mythology about them, I guess I could say. At least from my experience, I don't know Angrboda as being a very well-known, in-your-face kind of person. She was somebody that I didn't even really know anything about until I started reading this book. So possibly could be that I'm mistaken on that, but at least for me personally, it was a unique perspective because it wasn't someone who was in the middle of the Aesir and in the middle of things that normally happen. And I also feel like the book has a really good structure. It is well written, easy to read. It definitely, the way it's drawn out and the way that it's structured as a book in general, the parts that it's chunked into based on the different events that happened, definitely draw the reader in during the most important moments and get you moving forward through the book pretty well. So I feel like overall it's just a strong, easy read with things to like about it, definitely if you like Norse mythology. Well, the one thing that I felt like, or the two things that I feel like it kind of lacks for me, one is not really a problem for me, like it didn't make me not like the book any less, but it is something to be aware of, is that it's not a very action-based book. Really, it's a very slow-paced, kind of everyday-oriented type of adventure. There's not a lot going on, not a lot of flashy fights, not a lot of flashy magic, not a lot of conflicts happening and obstacles and stuff like that. It's pretty low-key as far as events, so if you are a reader that prefers to have more action, more adventure, more in-your-face kind of moments, this book is not going to be what you're looking for. So it could be a con for some readers. For me, I felt like it fit fine in this book, but as somebody who usually likes more action in their stories, I did notice that it is a pretty slow-moving book. And then also it does lack a lot of fantasy elements. It is a fantasy. It does have magic, and it does have gods and goddesses and things that aren't real, and in places that are very fantastical. But the elements are very mundane along with the action. There's not a lot of flashing magic. There's not a lot of exciting moments with it. The fantasy elements are really more low-key, everyday type usage. Nothing really to be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that person or that character just did that, or that was so cool, or anything like that. So kind of more of a low-key type story. For those of you who are not interested as much in low-key stories, this book might not be as strongly appealing for you. Overall, would I recommend it? Yes, I would recommend it, but I do think I would recommend it more toward a specific audience, specifically those who really like Norse mythology or mythology of any kind and think that you might want to check it out because you do like those kinds of stories. Or anybody else who might want just an easy, laid back read of something that's just easygoing, nothing super fancy, nothing super intense. So, definitely think it's a fun read. But just might not be for everybody and might be targeting more specific audiences. Still, if it sounds like something that you might find enjoyable, I do think that you should go ahead and give it a try. It is a good read, even if it's not, a super exciting one. I do think it is still enjoyable enough to read and experience. Alright, I guess that's it for me today. Please let me know if you've read this book and how you feel about it and if you would recommend it yourself. I'd love to hear your thoughts and feelings. And if you are interested in more thoughts I have about it, I do have a full written review on the blog, fantasyfictionfanatics.net. I'll put the link to it down below and you can check out more about what I think on there. Until the next time, I guess I will see you guys later. Bye.